Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Welcome back, and nice to have you here. As usual, I appreciate your comments and you taking the time to listen to my videos and share with friends and family. Thank you for that. So I start with today's presentation with a very short video. Then I will go to the reading materials. Then I have more videos at the end. Today is September 8, 2021. Welcome back. So this video shows OLF fighters welcoming in a Sassiga, eastern Welega region, Eastern Welega Zone, or in Oromia region. So you will see how the locals, the youth, happily welcoming or Oromo Liberation Army fighters into their, after they liberated Sassiga. The OLF is expanding, but due to the social service like basic service, internet and telephone service, we are not getting much videos. So, but I shared this from Jerjertu Media. Thank you for that. So let's listen to this and see how the people are welcoming OLF. OLA, which the Ethiopian government, the Abiy government, designated them as terrorist organization. So you see the difference, what the government saying and what the people are doing. You will see how the government is lying about this organization. This organization is not a terrorist organization. It is a legitimate freedom fighters. And you will see from the people when they are accepting them. Let's listen.
Welega Ana Sassiga magaalaa itti to'atee waajjiroota mootummaa guutuutti barbadeessee hidhamtoota siyaasaa hidhaadhaa baasuudhaan meeshaalee waraanaa hedduu hiikuudhaan uummata Oromoo hidhachiisee bilisummaa Oromootiifis itti falmaa jiru, itti mirkaneessaa jiru uummata guutummaatti abduu kan hirsee jira. Guyyaan injifannoo barri injifannoo baranumaa gadaan gadaa bilisummaati. Ergamtuuf hin ergamnu injifannoo uummata Oromoo.
Okay, so
At a time when most universities
you saw how the youth, especially the youth, welcome OLA fighters with, with hope and inspiration and with joy. So you see what the government saying is a pure propaganda. It's not going with the public. The public need these fighters, welcome these freedom fighters. So that is, it's a wrong designation. So Abiy Ahmed, instead of settling the issue through dialogue and reconciliation, he designated TPLF and OLA as a terrorist organization. So that's meaningless. It doesn't resolve any issue that country faces. So OLA, or Oromo Liberation Army, is welcomed, and the people are waiting for them to liberate their cities and towns and the villages, as you can see. And as the fighter said, they liberated Sassiga, they destroyed government structure, confiscated weapons and armed the locals to fight against Prosperity Party. So that is the true. That is the facts about this armed group. They are not terrorists. They are freedom fighters, and they are welcome, very welcome, with a celebration in more towns, cities. They liberated Begi, they liberated other towns and cities, Sassiga. What you see is a welcoming mood into the community with celebration. So that's all I want to say for now. I have more videos at the end. Let's read some news materials. Thank you again. Amid rising cases of COVID-19, Ministry of Health records Delta variant in Ethiopia. The number of positive cases, deaths, and serious cases in Ethiopia has risen sharply in recent weeks. Health Minister Dr. Leah Tadessa said in the Ministry of Health weekly press briefing. The minister also disclosed that cases with Delta variant have been detected in the country. A state-run Ethiopian news agency quoted Dr. Leah as saying, "The new variant is a variant that will affect people of all ages, leading to serious illness and possible deaths, especially those who remain unvaccinated." Dr. Leah urged the public to get vaccinated and reminded individuals and institutions to stick to COVID-19 prevention protocols. According to the press briefing, in Ethiopia last week alone, 8,300 people were infected with the virus, while a total of 313,000 people have tested positive so far. She said that 4,700 people have died as a result of this epidemic. Ministry of Health reported that the surge of COVID-19 resulted in an increase of infection rate from 1% to 20%. And last week only 128 people died as a result of the COVID. The recent development confirms concerns raised by the health centers, healthcare professionals, and even the Ministry of Health about the arrival of the Delta variant and the lack of preparedness in the country to deal with it. So that is reported by Addis Standard, and the Ethiopian government, including the Minister of Health, they play politics with this COVID-19, as you have already witnessed from different pro-government protesters. These protesters don't have any face mask or any other protections, and they are overcrowded in cities and Meskel Square in Addis Ababa. So the government allowed them to break the protocol. Now she's talking about the protocol in this statement. The protocol is broken by Ethiopian government, by the prime minister and people around him, including the health minister. They didn't properly guided Ethiopians to save themselves from this COVID-19. They use COVID-19 against other opposition politicians. If they call protest, they use it to deny them not to come out and express themselves. But when the government want the people to come out, they don't care about COVID-19. They don't care about any protocol. They let them overcrowded without any mask, any face mask. So that's why we see these numbers increasing. Also, the Irrecha celebration is coming up. The Oromo traditional yearly celebration of Irrecha is coming up. So they are talking about COVID-19 now, probably to deny them not to come out and do the celebration. So they playing politics with it. They are not using science. They are not using proper guidance to deal with this COVID-19. So that's the issue. And all the ministries are under the control of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. And they don't do their job independently. They insert politics into their job. That's why we see they using COVID-19 as they wish. They use it when pro-government protesters are, want to come out without any protection, and when they want to deny others to protest against the government or to express something about their freedom, they deny them using COVID-19 as an excuse. Even they use COVID-19 as an excuse to postpone election last time. So they play with it. Okay. When it comes to the global numbers, I have update. 221,177,440 cases globally. The deaths globally, 4,577,143. 4,577,143 days. This is globally. The vaccine dose administered globally 5,512,050,828. Still, we need more vaccines. 5 billion is very small when compared to the number of population around the world. So for this number, credit John Hopkins University. ICRC calls on all parties to protect healthcare, other vital services, highlights its effort in Afar, Amara, Tigray regions. Displaced people have few belongings and sleep in overcrowded shelters, schools, or even out in the open, where they may be exposed to the rainy seasons and the cold weathers in high altitude regions. Water, food, cash, fuel, and power are highly scarce, and those who are displaced rely heavily on host communities who often have few resources to spare. It is heartbreaking to see the trauma people suffer after they were suddenly uprooted from their homes. However, what worries me the most is that they must also cope with growing insecurity, said Nicholas von Arx, the head of delegation of the International Community of Red Cross, ICRC in Ethiopia. We call on all sides to the conflict to spare civilians from the effects of fighting and to protect healthcare and other vital services. Access to healthcare remains a primary humanitarian concern. Following the recent fighting in the Amara and Afar regions, health facilities supported by the ICRC have been receiving an increasing number of wounded people in the past few weeks. The situation has become increasingly difficult, with the health structures overcrowded, medical supplies not adequate or lacking, and not enough human resources to take care of patients who need an immediate surgical intervention, said Apollo Kinyoki Barras, health coordinator for the international ICRC, International Red Cross. Working in a close cooperation with the Ethiopian Red Cross Society, the ICRC has increased its presence in Amhara and Afar, delivering emergency supplies, improving shelter and sanitation for the displaced, and helping health facilities deal with the influx of wounded and other conflict-related health needs. The ICRC continues the same program in the Tigray region. Since the beginning of August, the international community of Red Cross has delivered the following services. It's a lot, but I just read a little bit. I will cover only 3 of them. There are more than 3. 1. Distributed emergency livelihood and shelter material, including blankets, lamps, kitchen sets for 102,600 people in Tigray, Amara, and Afar. Provided food assistance to 18 hospitals in Tigray, distributing flour, chicken peas, and cooking oil to more than 14,500 patients, medical staff, and their families. Delivered medical supplies to 13 hospitals in the Amara region, including Gondar University Hospital, Sekota and Lalibela General Hospitals, as well as Aikel Primary Hospital, Dese University Hospital, Woldia, Dabark, Dangla, Boru Meda, Kombolcha General Hospital, Mersa, Adet, Haik, and Merawi Primary Hospitals. These hospitals and healthcare centers received medical supplies and equipment such as wheelchairs and hospital beds, personal protective equipment, blankets, and mattresses. The supplies are sufficient to treat over 2,000 wounded people. So the list going on what the ICRC did in these conflict zones. So if you go to Addis Standard, you will see all the lists, all the services provided by international community of Red Cross. So I'll just leave it there. Sudanese Prime Minister, African leaders discuss regional conflict. Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok, who also chairs the East African bloc of the IGAD, discussed with several African leaders ways to settle the disputes and bring peace in the region, according to a statement released on Monday. Hamdok last week spoke by telephone with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, Uganda President Yoweri Museveni, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, Rwanda President Paul Kagame, Djibouti President Ismail Omar Guelleh, South Sudan President Salva Kiir Mayardit, and Somalia President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo. Hamdok's office further said that Hamdok discussed the security situation in the region also with U.S. Special Envoy for the Horn of Africa, Jeffrey Feltman. The Sudanese Prime Minister proposed that the IGAD mediates negotiation between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray People Liberation Front, TPLF. Addis Ababa declined the offer, pointing to the border dispute and GERD issue with Sudan. However, Hamdok said he would continue to mobilize regional efforts to settle the conflict. The Prime Minister conveyed the Sudanese position on the region's issue in his capacity as the head of IGAD, said the statement. Also, he listened to the idea of his interlocutors, including serious and practical proposals to settle the challenge affecting the region and the continent through an African approach, pinpointed the statement. On Friday, South Sudanese Information Minister Michael Makuei told reporters that President Kiir would mediate between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray rebels. It is worth mentioning that the visit of President Kiir to Ethiopia came as a request from Prime Minister of Sudan, Abdullah Hamdok, who is now the chair of IGAD, who requested President Kiir to go to Ethiopia, believing that he is the right person to mediate in the Ethiopian conflict, Makuei stressed. So the mediation effort by Sudan, current IGAD chairman, is ongoing. So we appreciate the effort, even though Ethiopia and the Prime Minister still insist on winning this war by mobilizing Ethiopians to this unnecessary bloodshed. They are, you know, having the graduation ceremony for these 3 months or maybe 2 months trainees, Bershaloko and other areas. So they are massively increasing the number of militias. So they thinking they're gonna win through military means instead of focusing on diplomatic or negotiation or reconciliation. So there is no ending side. This is a tweet by U.S. State Department on the Afghanistan, evacuation process. The United States mobilized unprecedented global effort to evacuate U.S. citizens, personnel from partner nations, and at-risk Afghans from Kabul. In total, the United States and our partners have relocated more than 124,000 people to safety, including 6,000 U.S. citizens. So that is a tweet from U.S. State Department about what they did, or how many people they safely evacuated from Taliban in Afghanistan. 124,000 is a big number. It's a lot of people. So they did that. So that's the reading part. Let's do just a few videos and end today's presentation. Okay, let's see. Okay, there you go. Let's share these videos and end. Okay, here we go.
Loaded onto the backs of camels among the last stocks of food aid in conflict-hit northern Ethiopia. The footage released by the World Food Programme reflects the severe humanitarian situation in Tigray, and it's people like mother of 6 Leti Mariam who are paying the price.
I couldn't sleep at night or think straight in the day thinking about what to feed my kids. I still think about how to provide for my kids.
Thousands have been killed and more than 2 million forced to flee their homes since the war broke out 10 months ago. Now the United Nations warns that a de facto blockade is bringing millions to the brink of famine. The WFP video was filmed at the end of August in northwestern Tigray. Sachin Tate is a WFP staff member in the area.
We don't have any food stocks at the moment to plan with or to distribute. Whatever we have is currently being distributed or has already been distributed.
More aid has since materialized. 100 trucks covering 3,500 metric tons of food and other supplies arrived on Sunday. But the WFP called that a drop in the ocean and says that 100 trucks need to be arriving every day to meet the needs of the population. The spokesperson for Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has dismissed allegations that the Ethiopian government is blocking food aid. The UN has called on all parties to the conflict to allow the movement of supplies into the region. It says 5.2 million people, or 90% of Tigray's population, urgently needs humanitarian assistance. That includes 400,000 already facing famine conditions. The world body has also warned that the spread of fighting to the neighbouring Amhara and Afar regions has exacerbated the crisis, uprooting at least 300,000 more people and meaning another 1.7 million need food aid.
Nearly half of the population are in need of humanitarian assistance, and 18 million people, generally speaking, need some kind of humanitarian protections assistance. 14 million need food, 9 million need access to water, 600,000 have been internally displaced this year alone, and 5 million people who remain displaced for years.
This is
Humanitarian
Afghanistan.
side of UNAMA isn't going anywhere. It's going to stay there and do its job, and its job is going to expand. So for us, what's needed is to get that airlift in from Pakistan or wherever, so that we can rotate the humanitarian staff in and out and extend them back into the provinces, the hubs where they were before this most recent crisis, so that they can stay and deliver.
Okay, one more video.
Toyota, we've got a new Toyota to fit every mode of your life. Eco mode, normal mode, sport mode, even off-road. These were the scenes of celebration on the streets of Conakry Sunday after some Guineans took to the streets to congratulate soldiers who detained President Alpha Conde following hours of heavy gunfire. Mutinous soldiers in the West African nation then announced on state television that the government had been dissolved in an apparent coup d'etat. We are happy. We are here to show our joy because we suffered a lot over time. With the time, God showed us someone who is more powerful than him. Above all, his patience. We have been patient. I am very, very happy. We went out for the joy. We are very happy with what we had and what we saw. The Guinean will still live to celebrate this historic moment, but the questions still linger on how the next government will be formed and its legality. Already the United Nations, the ECOWAS, and countries like France have condemned the coup d'etat. Guinea now follows countries like Zimbabwe, Mali, and Sudan, where military have directly participated on direct power seize.
Okay, that's thanks to African news about Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, Conakry. People welcoming the new military takeover. So that's all the updates I want to share with you, and but I want to conclude with this: Ethiopia officials, the Prime Minister, and those, especially the Amaras, should consider. That's the problem at this time. They should consider to end this war through peaceful means, either through IGAD initiative or through United Nations initiative. They must come to the table. I know they have too many soldiers to fight for them. That's not a solution. That's not a guarantee to win the war just by massing civilians with a very quick military training and sending them to die. So that's not a good strategy. These are human beings, and we should save their lives. And please, the Amaras, You are the core supporter of Abiy Ahmed at this time. So you should slow down and reconsider your war strategy and come to the table, end this bloodshed, end this bloodbath from that country, especially in the coming New Year for Ethiopia. The New Year is coming up within a few days. So they have, I heard the Prime Minister message, I will talk next time, but nothing about peace, nothing about ending the suffering Ethiopia is facing or Ethiopians are facing at this time. Inflation, economic downturn, conflicts, war, command post, nothing. He just showing interest to use his military might and to defeat any opposition in that country. So that's not a good strategy, and you should come to the table. This is a domestic conflict. This is a civil war. So you should end it. You should come to the table. You should come to the negotiating table, and please close it in the coming year. The other thing also, I want to stress that the Ethiopian government not to play politics, not to play COVID for their own advantages. They have to take it seriously. People are dying, people are suffering, so don't play politics with it. You should follow the proper guidelines to deal with this very serious disease, Delta or the the other one, the other variants. So don't allow when the pro-government comes out without mask in a massive number, and do not deny others when they are requesting to protest or to express themselves. That's playing politics. You should have a standard to deal with this very serious virus. Ethiopians are very poor, and they don't have any protection, they don't have proper hygiene, they don't even have clean water. So Mrs. Leah Tadessa, don't play politics. Just do your job according to your training, according to your medical training. Don't involve politics with it. Don't involve. I know you are appointed by Prosperity Party. That's why you are playing politics with it. That's why people are suffering due to this. So that is not expected from an educated person like you. That is my conclusion. I will be back with other news and comments from Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you, my listeners. I'm happy to come back next time. Be safe. So long, everyone.